Hello, everybody. How are you doing tonight? Lots to talk about tonight. Maybe some drama within Inter Miami. Plus, there's the girls in Fort Lauderdale have been playing, and so we can touch on that. I watched that game as well. So some fun stuff to talk about tonight. But some potential drama in the Inter Miami front office. Maybe we could touch on that as well. We definitely will touch on that as well. So lots of fun or interesting, I don't know if it's always fun, but interesting things to talk about tonight. But as always, I don't do this by myself. Everybody say hello to their favorite uncle, Uncle Ed. How are you doing, Ed?
Peter Brown, nice to see you, man. I hope you're doing good. We didn't have any soccer this weekend, but at least we could see that our hopes for the Supporters Shield is looking better because of other results.
Yeah, Cincinnati lost, did they not?
Cincinnati and Columbus lost, which is even better for us, and we'll talk about that in a sec, I'm sure.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. Not a lot of people in the chat yet, but if you want to get active in the chat, please do so and say hello, and we'll get to talking.
There's an echo. They're saying, Peter, echo.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, you know why? The wrong microphone is selected.
Oh, look at that.
My microphone's not connected.
Wonk, wonk. Is it
How
just
come you
Peter? Or
didn't
is it?
tell me that in the beginning, Ed?
I heard something weird, but I didn't think it was that.
All right. Why don't you talk to the folks while I try to figure this out?
Well, hopefully it's not me, but I just wanted everybody to know that I do have a construction video that is out. Pretty entertaining, I've been told. So go ahead and check that out, and don't forget that on tomorrow we're gonna have the Spanish show with Marco El Oso Donoso. So don't miss that. Be sure to subscribe to the Spanish channel as well. And we've got like I said, that construction video, which is from my perspective. So go check that out.
Keep going. I'm not done yet. I'm
Oh,
still having
look at that!
problems.
Still having problems, Peter Brown. I hope it's not me. I don't know if I
No,
sound.
it's my microphone. I could see that it's pulling the microphone from my laptop, not the one in my face.
Oh, not good.
So
Not good.
I must have bumped something or
I
somewhere.
hate I hate when I bump things. Especially things I don't want to bump. So that could be an issue. But hopefully, Peter will be able to get that. We've got some cool stuff to talk about today. Like Peter said, there was some drama for your mama in the front office, and we're gonna totally talk about that. Actually, in one of the MLS guys, Matt Doyle, talked about it, and we're gonna break that down a bit. I think they called Matt the armchair analyst, something like that. So we'll definitely check that out. He must have heard from a reliable source, I would imagine, because that's I think a pretty big deal of what we heard, heard him say. So we'll wait for Peter to hopefully fix the mic.
It's
No,
not
no
looking
fix.
good. I don't. I'm almost afraid I have to like quit the show and start it over again. But well, I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh well, people saying they like the construction. We'll give Peter a few more minutes. Hopefully he'll be able to adjust or maybe take the echo off. I
There's no.
believe.
It's not the echo, Ed. It's the microphone.
Oh, stupid microphone. Well,
I'm in
hopefully
an
he'll be.
echoey room, so without this good microphone, that's the way this room sounds.
Yeah. Well, Francisco Garcia is saying reboot and he'll wait.
Yeah,
We might.
but if I reboot, this stream goes dead, and we have to create a new stream, and that's a problem.
Patrick's saying that it doesn't sound too bad, Peter Brown.
And you can hear me at least, right?
Yeah, you can hear you. So I guess if it's not that bad, I think we should keep pushing forward. If not, we'll go ahead and change it. But yeah, up to you, Peter.
Keep going, Ed. Just keep giving your opinions.
Well, like I said, there's some interesting stuff to talk about, and I like what it
Why
said
don't,
on
why don't you
Dino's.
take us, Why don't you take us down the path that you were going down as far as Columbus and Cincinnati while I try to figure this out?
Well, the good thing, yeah, because of other results, we are looking good in the Supporter Shield race. We've I think it was Columbus had a couple games, that they still had to play. So they had potentially 6 points where they could try to catch up to us. They lost their last game. There was some controversy because they weren't able to sign another goalie, and so I think they decided we're going to try to rough it out. And unfortunately for them, their their keeper was sent off. I believe I'm not actually totally sure, but that forced them to have a, a player, a normal field player, put on the goalie gloves, and it didn't go too well. Peter Brown, they got a 4-0 result at home. Oh, something
Yeah,
happened.
I think. Does this sound better?
Yeah, sound a lot better, Peter.
All right. So let's reboot a little bit and go backwards a little bit now that I fixed that, because we did forget. I didn't get a chance to do this, and we have to say thank you to our sponsors. Start off with Caneswear. Caneswear is located in Davie, Florida, south of 595 on University Drive, the messiest wall in all of South Florida. You need to go there, support your local business, buy your messy jerseys with them, support local homegrown businesses, please. And
Peter Brown, the American Dream herself, Emil Rodrigues. She speaks 3 languages. If you've got a property that you want to sell or you want to invest in South Florida, do it with Mia Rodriguez. She's the one to go to. She is the goat of all realtors in South Florida. So, and like you saw in the beginning, the American Dream, that's her TV show. You could appear on that TV show. If you want to sell your property or business, do it with Mia Rodriguez. Become famous and make some money while you're at it, Peter Brown.
always could use a little extra money, especially after this weekend. My AC broke. I had to spend 10 grand on a brand new AC unexpectedly. You never expect to do that. But anyways,
Yeah, that sucks.
you want to leave a voicemail? Please do that at 786-474-4435. Already got one voicemail in the books. So we can get to that probably on the top of the show because it'll. Yeah, I love, Ed, when the thumbnail works, when the thumbnail gets somebody kind of like thinking or rattled or disagreeing. So that happened with One World, One Goal. She didn't agree with the thumbnail. She didn't like the thumbnail. She even said so on Twitter. She's like, I don't agree. So we've got a call from her. But if you also want to jump in as well. So, Ed, you were saying the Supporter Shield race is just looking a little bit more attainable.
Yeah, Peter Brown, it's looking good. I mean, we've got some favorable results, especially the Columbus one. Columbus had, a big goal differential advantage over us. Now it's shortened up quite a bit. I mean, it doesn't really affect us because point wise, we're way up there.
Yeah,
It would take a catastrophe of us losing every game and not getting any points for us to lose the Supporter Shield title. The way things are looking, all the teams that we're going to play are teams that we should on paper be able to at least win or get a tie from. But Columbus is one of those teams. Well, and they are hungry now because they just lost 4-0 as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and you said something about goalkeeper, and I wasn't fully paying attention because I was dealing with my microphone. And Francisco, I didn't watch this game. I didn't follow the game at all. Columbus playing without goalies?
Well, they only had Peter Brown. They only had their starting goalkeeper. They didn't have a backup because of some MLS rules where you could use certain amount of call-ups or whatever. Apparently, Columbus had already used those up, and so they didn't give them a chance to put another backup goalkeeper. I don't know how it works, Peter.
Wait, so their goalkeeper got a red card or something, and then they didn't have somebody to put in his place.
That's what happened, and so a field player had to put the gloves on. He did not do well at all because Seattle.
That's always funny when that happens.
4 goals on the poor guy, and there was a penalty too, and the guy jumped the right way. He just wasn't able to get it. Just a real goalkeeper would have helped. A guy that's trained to be a goalkeeper would have been much better. And I don't know the exact rules for MLS and why they don't They don't let Columbus, who's a team that's played, I think they said 39 games this season so far. Counting all the different championships that they went through. So these guys, they're tired. They used up all those whatever allotments they had for those second string goalkeepers or call ups or whatever, and they ran out of those apparently, and MLS didn't grant them a bye, which they should have, because if you think about it, they've played more games than any other team in Major League Soccer. They should at least be given, a player from the academy or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess part of my thought as you were talking is I'm thinking you should be allowed to call up as many players from the two team as you want. It is your squad. But that would be a smart way to kind of park payroll as well. That could be a way to cheat the system a little bit if you really think about it. So, that'd be interesting. But
yeah.
So I guess you couldn't really do, because you think if you give people an opportunity, they're going to find a way to abuse it and cheat. We did. We tried.
Well, and if you've seen on Twitter or X now, a lot of people were already crying, bloody murder, and saying that Inter Miami gets away with everything. Why can't Columbus get away with it? So they're blaming that loss on Inter Miami.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Of course, it's well. I remember people were really pissed off the fact that Suarez did not play in the All-Star game, because if you get called into the All-Star game and you don't play, you're supposed to be suspended. He wasn't, but he said he was injured, but nobody believes it. So
Well, he wobbles like it looks like he's hurt, but
he can always claim he's hurt, just can't walk, right?
Yeah, the way he walks, it hurts just to watch him sometimes wobble around the field, but he's able to score, man. That guy's positioning is incredible, and the man's a a machine to make goals. He's always in the right place. He knows how to where to put the ball. His placement's incredible. His passing is incredible. So there's talk, Peter, that as I'm sure you saw all over social media. If you didn't see the Uruguay game, he retired from the national team, and a lot of people, in the beginning of the week. There you go. In the beginning of the week, a lot of people thought that he was, dude, poor guy, he's crying. But, dude, his whole career and everything, it's gotta hurt, man. He plays, if I played for my national team, it would hurt me too. Of course I was, in jest, making fun of him, but
yeah.
But the truth that's really gotta bug you. I'm a war veteran myself, and when the national anthem comes out, I feel very prideful. Same thing with him, dude. He's played for his national team. He's done his time and his goals and all the contributions that he's done. So it hurts. But many people were thinking, is he retiring from soccer totally? Does that include Inter Miami? What do you think, Peter?
Well, he said, and I read some quote somewhere, that basically he's not done. He's not done yet. He feels like there's more yet for him to accomplish. He's just done with his national team. And then there's a report from Michelle Kaufman of the Miami Herald, who's basically saying that expect him to be renewed. Paraphrasing a little bit, that the chances of him, the fact that he retires from the national team is probably a good thing for Inter Miami. I mean, he's proven, all the doubters, I was one of them, that he can still play. I was afraid because he can't walk, how he's going to look. So, when I said in the thumbnail and the title, "The Future in Doubt," well, it isn't still in doubt. He's the contract's over at the end of this year, so it is in doubt. But I think it's pretty safe assumption, as long as he's still healthy at the end of this season. I think it's a fair assumption that he will be back with Inter Miami next year, one more time. To see what he could do, and he said he wasn't done yet. So I think he's still around. Kata saying here, Suarez, legend.
That he is. That he is.
Then he's also saying you are a legend. So he's just throwing out the term legend,
Go on. Oh,
you know,
wait, whoa.
he's just throwing out that term legend like willy nilly.
Well, downtown Peter Brown legend.
No, I don't know. No, they're saying legends because of your service. That's why.
Thank you.
That's why. I'm just having some fun with it. But
the one thing that makes me worry, Peter, about I'm glad that he wants to come back.
Yeah.
Will he be a full-time player? Dude, he's doing really well.
He's doing it now.
But what I'm worried about, and I just saw some reports out of Ecuador, Campana, they're saying that they're never going to call him back to the national team, the Ecuadorian national team, unless he goes to a team that's going to make him play. Some people in Ecuador were even saying that he was playing for the Hollywood team of the United States, and as long as he doesn't play, they will never call him up again. Maybe that's right. I don't know. He still has a contract with Inter Miami. But knowing that Suarez is probably going to come back, he might be thinking it's time to jump ship. And that worries me, Peter, because he's a good backup.
Yeah.
And who are we going to get to replace Campana?
Well, I've said, Campana is a starter on majority of the teams in this league. So, I think you'd find the kind of similar situation that we had with our other forward that went to Philadelphia Union, Carranza, who's done real well over there. And I don't remember if he was sold but there was lots of talk about him being sold. I didn't follow whether or not they actually did sell him or not. But
yeah, I think I think he went to Europe.
Yeah, I think they did sell him. Yeah. Ash Preetam says, Suarez will return. Just need to put a little Vicks Vapor Rub on them knees daily. Just, rub a little Bengay on there or something. That's that's old school stuff I used. But I agree with Ash here as well. So Campana is I think really good, but an up and coming kind of version of Campana almost. You could use him in the same way and with less ego because he's done less. He's at the beginning of his career, assuming he can rehab his injury, is Leo Afonso. Leo Afonso could be a good alternative if Campana goes because I think he's shown real well. And coming off the bench, I don't think he would have a problem with it because, like I said, he's at the beginning of his career, whereas Campana feels like he's already at his best years. His best years are now. Right. So
yeah, it's now. If he doesn't start doing anything, I think he just turned 23, and I don't know if he's 24 yet. But if he hit 24, then he needs to.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to get the playing time for sure.
But Alfonso might be the guy, man. He came in scoring goals. Now he's hurt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe he's the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hey, let's go to a voicemail here, and that'll set up maybe talking about Suarez a little bit more or Henderson, because people are like, why? Some people are like, why are we saying that Henderson's future is in doubt? I mean, there's question marks here. Why did we bring that up today? Well, let's find out. Oops, wrong button.
It's time for your voicemail. Hello.
Hey, Peter, Uncle Ed, and all the great fans out there. And extra shout out to Don Bear, Marquitos, and Don Roberto, I think it is, who's doing all the extra videos and stuff. I love it. So, Peter, come on now. That I understand that you think maybe somebody's going to poach Chris Henderson, but don't you dare send your mas back up the Brinks truck and pay this man, promote this man, give him whatever he deserves. Of course I'm partial from our fusion days, but he has the knowledge. You need an English-speaking management to be able to coordinate and with other teams and other MLS teams, and that knows the biz, knows soccer. You're not going to find any better than Chris Henderson. So please, I appreciate all the Barcelona people that have come in our management side, which is great for the Hispanic side of the business. But let's not forget that Chris knows the business inside and out. Do whatever it takes. Pay that man what he deserves. And then Luis Suarez, God bless him, shout out to having to retire. They did a beautiful send-off for him in South America. And the good news is he's free now to go get that golden boot and help us win our first big trophy other than the Carolina Cup, which he was not a part of. That was under the Phil Neville era. Shout out to Phil Shane and Ray Hudson. Anywho, so he does sound like he's going to come back. His very last interview in Spanish was to a YouTuber because that's like all the rage. Speaking of which, Kaylin Kyle, I think, wants to do the show, so track her down, Peter and Ed, during the international break, see if she'll do the show. And let's get Chris Henderson on the show. I can make some calls for you. If you guys can't do it, let me know. And what else? Oh, my gosh, the whole marketing thing. I didn't get the email till 1, 2 in the morning. I'm hearing a ping. I look real quick. I'm half asleep. So I couldn't make plans. I missed the cafecito. Thank you, Senor Mas, for trying to do some events around town. But a lot of people never got it, or it didn't have enough notice to get babysitters or whatever. People got to get off work, or, it was in Wynwood. So it would be cool if they also did one in the Gables, did something even out in Doral and Kendall where those fans are. And really, even if they did like Bayfront Park on a Saturday or Coconut Grove on a Saturday from like 4 to 6, or a Sunday that we don't have a game, or Saturday we don't have a game. It seems like the midday is into early evening is a better time for a party, but maybe they still did it while Beckham was in town. I know Noah Allen went down there, which I would have loved to go give him and his dad a big hug, because his dad helps watch.
I think she was rambling there a little bit, Ed, but guess what? There's more.
She ran long. Oops. I'm pulling a Uncle Ned here.
Where's he at?
Shout out to Noah Allen for going out there, and next time let's try to do something, Saturdays or Sundays are better from like 4 to 6. Do something like at Bayfront Park or in Coconut Grove or even out in Doral or Kendall where, more fans can get out than, and a lot of people with kids, they don't want to take their kids to a bar. So, it would be nice next time to do that, but congrats to the team on the new graphics, and, let's do a little better coordination next time. Again, I didn't get the email till 1 in the morning, so I wasn't able to make any plans. So give people like a week's notice next time and ramp up the locations. I know they couldn't even go to some of the locations they had originally indicated because I guess there was some snafus, but, when it comes closer to the time for the stadium, I have an idea for you guys that we can jump in and try to do a show like Kaylin Kyle used to do and get out and try to talk to some of the fans. So maybe I can help you guys with that closer to, 2026. Love you guys. Love the show. Peace out.
A lot there. Well, so she touched on Henderson. We already kind of talked about Suarez, and we'll touch on the marketing thing a little bit because that's plays into, also promoting your video that you did. But so Henderson, the reason we say Henderson is out or potentially is out. Well, I said Henderson is out because I'm repeating what Kata is saying. Henderson is gone. So the conversation, I know people are in the chat saying, hey, there was never any, and I think you mentioned something about this, Ed, as well. There was no mention of Henderson getting a contract renewal. Right, so the team didn't talk about it for sure, but his contract did expire December of 2023. So he clearly got renewed. We just don't know the details on it. However, as we get into this story that we're going to talk about, I'll mention the Athletic a little bit in that. And the Athletic does say if anybody wants to talk to Henderson, there is a buyout that needs to happen. So he's clearly under contract. They didn't talk about it. We don't know details about it. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, we don't know. But I do agree with her in that lock him up and sign him for a long term. Don't let him go. But the reason, Ed, we're talking about this is video that was shared with us from the MLS one of the MLS shows that they do. I didn't watch the full show. I just saw the clip, as did you, where Matt Doyle, the armchair analyst on MLS, talks about Atlanta United. Atlanta United parted ways with Carlos Bocanegra, who was their director of soccer operations. And where's a new Weissman when we're talking about Atlanta? Where's he at? He's probably happy, because I know the fans in Atlanta have not been happy with Bocanegra for a long time. And so he's out. And then Matt Doyle says, well, obvious person is Henderson, because Garth Lagerway, who is the boss over there in Seattle, was in Seattle, now in Atlanta, has obvious connections with Henderson.
They've worked together really well, Peter, and they made a powerhouse out of the Sounders.
They did.
They won a whole bunch of championships, and if they want to, I would imagine Lagerway, which also has fusion, a fusion background like Henderson does. They would, they did a good job working together back then, and I imagine they'll be doing a good work over in Atlanta. And Atlanta has got an incredible stadium, incredible, support. The supporters are, humongous over there. So, and they have an owner that, that's willing to put money into the team. So that could be another powerhouse. And who else to do it than Chris Henderson? I'd hate to see him go. I know Marco, we're probably going to talk about it in the Spanish show. Marco wants Tata out, wants Henderson out. He's just a hater.
I wonder, but here's the thing. I'm gonna. You can share this with Marco, because he's probably not watching this.
Right.
But Marco, if I'm not wrong, is a new MLS fan. Am I right about that? I don't know. Did he follow MLS before Inter Miami?
Peter, he was with us with the football. I'm sorry, with the Southern Legion back in the day, man. He was one of the guys walking with us to the stadium, to the announcement.
But that's about Inter Miami. Did he follow MLS before Inter Miami? The reason where I'm going is so many people don't understand MLS, as they always compare it to how it is in Ecuador, how it is in Argentina, and all that stuff. And someone like Chris Henderson clearly understands the league, as does Garth Lagerway. So I don't know. Anybody I think that criticizes Henderson, can you say every one of his decisions is perfect? No, of course not. But he also has to make Tata happy as well. And a lot of the current picks that we're making may be a little bit more Tata. And to speak about, Henderson doesn't have full range with this club. He has a very hands-on owner with Jorge Mas. And David Beckham, probably a little bit less so, but a very hands-on kind of owner with Jorge. And so, he doesn't make all the decisions that like you would think he might. And maybe
Chris is probably doing telling Jorge what he can and cannot do, which is probably what Tubby didn't tell him back in the day. That's what Chris is there for.
He'll definitely knows the rules.
Don't do that. We can do this. We can do that.
Yeah. Here, Skrilla is saying Tata is the real GM. He's the one finding the young South American talent. I don't know if that's completely true either. I think it's a combination, though. I think he definitely plays a big part.
Chris had a big part in that.
Yeah.
Of course, with the big players like Messi and all those, probably not as big. But I do know that a lot of these younger players that came in from Argentina, all that, are Chris Henderson. Doing.
Anybody that's going to criticize Chris, look at what he did. And then, again, he wasn't by himself. He was in Seattle. And that's what the rumor is about him potentially going to Atlanta is about. Doing that all over again with his buddy, Garth Lagerway, our old Miami Fusion backup goalkeeper. Although I think this version of Garth ate that old version of Garth. I think he ate him.
Oh man,
I know that's bad.
But he does look like he he can eat a good burger or two.
There is a little more juice to this, a little more drama for your mama to
There you
this,
go.
in that, according also to Matt Doyle, the new president of football operations, what's his name? Raul Sanaleja. I can't say his last name.
That dude.
Yeah, the guy that has Barcelona ties, Arsenal ties, all that kind of stuff. He came in.
Technically Chris's boss?
He is Chris's boss. And he apparently kicked Chris out of his office, of his own office. He's like, I guess the way it is like he sees Chris Henderson's office and goes, I want that. That's my office now.
And Chris Doyle said that. I didn't catch it the first time, and Peter's like, didn't you listen to what
That's
that
low.
interview said?
That's low. Like, if you want to come in, like, look, you're coming in to be the big boss, right? You want to flex your muscle, but you also want to come in and be humble. I think if you come in there and being like, I'm the man, I get the big office, you look bad, right? So that could rub someone like Chris wrong and just say, screw this. I'm not valued here. I'm going to go somewhere where I am valued. Now, flip side, I was thinking about this, playing devil's advocate like I like to do. Chris seems to be, now I spent about a good 30, 40 minutes talking with Chris at this Miami Fusion kind of reunion thing. Super nice guy. Talk about humble. He is humble. And he potentially, I'm just going to guess, but there's a possibility of him saying, hey, no, you take it. Maybe it was less getting kicked out and more him saying, no, you get it. This is yours. You're the man now, right? This would have been David's office if he was here more, because really that's David Beckham's job, president of football operations, or was. And this guy kind of takes that role. But so I could see that happening, and if that's the case, then there's not as much drama as we might think. But Matt Doyle, kind of armchair analyst, the guy with the beard on all the pregame things for MLS and all that kind of stuff. He kind of put that out there. So
he made it sound like that's what happened. Get out of my office.
It is. He did make it sound like that. Yeah. Mike V is saying Raul is the henchman that was brought in to clean house. There's nothing to clean, no. We're in first place. We are more than likely winning the Supporters Shield, in good position for MLS Cup. Now, there's no guarantees on that, but what house are we cleaning? At that point, we're because he also, Raul does not have a very good track record. I remember when they brought him on, I was like, I don't know if this is the guy. But I don't blame Atlanta potentially wanting him. Now, the article I was mentioning before, the Atlantic kind of Athletic does touch on this, and they actually say there are two other candidates that they think Garth might look at, and that's Craig Weibel, former MLS player, current. He's worked with him at. He's worked with Lagerway at Seattle Sounders and at Real Salt Lake. I think he's currently the general manager of the Seattle Sounders, so he's got a working relationship with Craig Weibel. And also, apparently, another candidate potentially is Minnesota United's sporting director, Khaled El Ahmad. And he was interviewed by Lagerway in 2021 for the open sporting director in Seattle. So obviously Lagerway had an interest in him back in 2021. So, and the part of the article also then does mention Henderson, but says, we know the links there. That makes sense. We talked about that, but it does mention that for all three of these candidates, there would have to be a contract buyout. These are all people that are in contract currently with MLS teams. So, of course, he could go completely out of the box, but this is what they think. And based on what Matt Doyle said, it's got to get us somewhat concerned.
See, right now I would have wanted to have Marco El Oso Donoso on the show so he could do a little fighting with Peter Brown left and right, give us his points about why he thinks Chris should be gone, and Tata as well.
Tata's that figure that a lot of people don't like. So that one I understand a little bit more, even though I say, hey, we're in first place. I mean, you know,
That's
you
what
could
they
say,
always tell
well,
them.
that's because of Suarez, and Phil Neville could have coached us in the same
Well,
situation.
that's what Marco says. Anybody
Which
could
is
probably coach
possible.
us with that team.
But that is possible. But you can't yell at the coach if we're in first place. That's my position. But that's more understandable. I mean, a lot of people, Mike V is in here yelling about Tata out and all that kind of stuff. So I get that one a little bit. But the Henderson one, I don't get. Is it Henderson? It's because Marco doesn't like some of the defenders that he's picked up, right? I mean,
I think that has a lot to do with it.
I know we've chatted about that. And, you know, again, I think some of that is a little bit more of, hey, Tata, what do you want? What kind of player do you want? And then he says, I like these guys. And then Henderson goes and looks and says, well, we can make this one happen and this one happen, you know, financially within the rules and all that kind of stuff. And then he obviously has contacts as well. So, I mean, I think that's really the situation there. I think it's less Henderson because, I mean, Henderson's job is to improve the team, but also he's got to make the coach happy, right? If that's the guy until he fires him, because he has that power as well. He could fire him, but well, I don't know if he has that power. It might be the other guy, Raul, but
right. But anyways, it's interesting, you know, that there are players, you know, Mike V's, you know, wanting Tata out, wanting Chris Henderson out, but Marco is too. But I'm perfectly okay with Chris Henderson. I think he's doing a great job. He's probably the guy that's keeping us, you know, from being fined like we were last time. So, you know,
and he is the one that is finding people. Okay, like Tata might be going after our most recent defensive acquisitions. Who would we got? David Martinez, and you know he may be the one pointing Chris in the direction and saying, you know, go get those guys. But what else Chris is doing that you don't really talk about is he's the one that's really in charge of the draft.
Right.
That's how you get a player like Afonso. That's how you get a player like Bright. Bright was a draft pick. Remember, Bright came in the draft. Tata had no clue about the draft. He doesn't know about that. This is Henderson. That's a Henderson deal. So as much crap you want of him or something, if you want to give it to him, even though a lot of people in the chat love Henderson, but I guess I'm yelling at Marco, who's not here. But
yeah, I think you know, in my opinion, I think Henderson. You know, I'd love to keep the guy. I think he's going to keep us on track in the future. And like, you know, like I was worried about another forward for us. He could probably find us one, even if it's not, you know, Afonso who takes over.
Right, somebody. And also, he knows the league. We don't do this very often, but if we're going to find another player within the league, if you're going to go out and pick up a player he knows the league. And now we don't generally do that. We don't buy players within the league. I can't remember. Have we done it? Well, yeah, I guess we have. We brought in oh, darn it. What's his name? Our old right back that's in Cincinnati now.
Oh, Yedlin?
Yeah, we brought in Yedlin. He was an MLS player, stuff like that. So, but it's also, if we're going to sell a player within MLS, if, for example, Campana is going to be sold within MLS, you need someone like Henderson. Henderson's going to make that deal happen. So here, I like this chat from Mike. It just made me laugh. Mike V says, Tata is a douche, and he crashes out of every single tournament competition, important competition, through his entire career. He has been fired from every team in a bad way. That made me laugh. And then One World comes at him. She's always positive. He won the Coach of the Year in Atlanta and MLS Cup. Both are valid points, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know what what to say, but he's got us in first place. So, we can criticize Tata for all his not making the changes quick enough, but well, there's another person that wants Henderson now. Look at that.
There's quite a few chats in here for
Oh, he
for
wants
Henderson. Yeah, they don't none there. I can't find a chat for supporting Tata, but oh wait, here's one. Thomas, Tata is the MVP. People people hating on him for no real, I guess, reason. He's here to stay. He's here to stay.
Look at that.
With hashtag Tata in. Oh yeah,
and,
Gressel's
Richard
another
Greenberg.
player we picked up from within the league. That's a Tata pick, to be honest. That's not a that's not, Here, this is what this is there. Richard Greenberg. Inter Miami's leading the league. Relax, folks. Relax.
Chill, folks.
And
chill.
that's why I'm yelling into the microphone about keeping things as they are.
Status quo.
Status quo. Keep them the way they are. Resign Suarez. If you need I agree with one more one goal. If you need to back up the Brinks truck to keep Tata happy, do that. Here's the move. Raul, if he wants the big office, right? If he wanted that big office, what you do is you wait until they move to Miami. Then they can purpose build an office for you however you want in that stadium. Although I imagine he's still going to have an office in, where the team trains, because that's where they work. But, you could probably build him an office at the stadium too. Give him his biggest office there is, he can work in Miami or in Fort Lauderdale, whatever he wants. But anyways. So speaking of new stadium, Ed, they did this. I pushed the button. It didn't do it. I wanted the other one.
There we go.
Yeah, I wanted this. I just like to change it up once in a while, make it interesting. Like One World One Goal said, they did this big marketing campaign where they had the two herons leave. It even kind of fooled you a little bit. You were like, "What are they changing the logo?" I knew they weren't. I knew they weren't. Yeah. Because think about it. Before they did this, they messed around with it before, where they put they changed the legs. They did something once before with the herons, playing around with them. So. But they did this really cool marketing campaign saying they're coming home. Really, really well done. Very professional. Very, very well done. The birds flying from Fort Lauderdale to Miami. They're home. Seems a little early for the birds to be flying. We still got a year and a half or so before the stadium would potentially be built. But
yeah, and
Peter,
the video that you made last month and the video that I made are basically almost the same thing, except I think they put porta potties in there. And
well, in your video, there's a few more of those pilings, I think is what I was told they are called, pilings, which then a footer gets poured into those. But those metal things sticking out, there's more of them in your video, and yeah, porta potties.
But you could tell there is a circular, formation already.
Yeah.
So that basically gives you the idea of where the stadium's going to be at, and it's right in front of the Sheraton too, the hotel right behind there, from the canal. So that basically tells you that that's where the stadium's going to be at. Nothing else has been even remotely, constructed. So we know the date.
Right.
It's
February when you
2020.
When you put out a big ad campaign like that, which I don't know how big of an ad campaign, it's a big social media campaign, but that video was very well done. It wasn't cheap to make. You do a big ad campaign like that, and then they go out into the city, painting the city pink, all these things. And as far as like One World, rather having them do that at night or on the weekend, it makes sense what they did. They're trying to get the people in the city, in the community that are out and about during the week. It makes sense. There's, I'm sure there's going to be plenty more events. To me, when I first saw it, I was like, it's a little early. Here, Kata says, club made too big of a deal about something we already knew. True. But my thought is now, it feels too early, but if the idea is we need a year and a half or so, a little bit less than that, right? To really let Miami know we're coming. So this is more of we're blanketing Miami and we're telling Miami we're coming and we'll be in your community. Now, if they do this marketing campaign and now continue it every couple of months or something, there's another little something, there's another little, hey, we're getting out into the community. There needs to be more of the push. Otherwise, I agree with Kata and it's saying we made too big a deal about nothing. We already knew this. But if it's just the beginning of a bigger marketing push, makes sense, complete sense. But you got to keep it up because Miami, I don't know. Some people think it's a slam dunk to put the team in Miami and the stadium's going to be full all week, all the time. I don't think it's going to be any different than it is in Fort Lauderdale. South Florida fans are finicky, So if you're not,
There's a lot of different.
If you're not having the stars, if Messi's not playing, you might not have a full house. You will probably in the first season. They're going to be happy, but season 2, season 3, all those in Miami, it's gonna wane a little bit. But if they're out there connecting with the community over this next year and a half, maybe building local soccer fields, paint, like a lot of clubs in MLS do that. They build like little 5-on-5 pitches and they smack their make it, their logo on there. And it's like a Philadelphia Union 5v5 in the, rural or, the urban core, something like that. They need to do stuff like that. I spoke a lot.
Well, they
Ed.
do have.
What do you think?
Remember that stadium where the stadium was going to be close to downtown in the Little Haiti?
Yeah.
It could, that's land is still there and it's owned by the team.
Yep.
They could do a soccer complex there or something. That would be good for the community. I mean, I like your idea. I think they could have, promoted this whole event a little bit better. I think we knew just the day before that it was going to happen. And it's not enough time. I would have wanted to, take off of work and go and, follow the team around or whatever. But I didn't, I just can't do it.
And that's like what I mean. To me, I don't have a problem with them kind of dropping that news on you at like One World said she didn't get the email till 1 a.m. I don't have a problem with that if it's just the beginning of something that's going to become more consistent. We don't like Orlando City here, but one of the things they did before the team launched is they would have, or as they're launching, as they're ramping up, they had magnet drops in parts of the city every single week. And I don't remember what their schedule was or anything like that, but let's say it was every Wednesday, there's going to be a magnet drop. And stay tuned because we're going to tell you where it's going to be, right? And it was in a different place throughout Orlando area every week. So if they do something like that, and it may not have to be every week, but every couple of months, then I think it's no big deal to give you kind of a last minute thing and just say, hey, this one didn't work out for me, but the next one will. And they're really trying to, they're not trying to get you, Ed. They already got you. They're trying to get they're trying to get the guy at the cafecito counter that's just happens to be next door where they're doing this little promo thing and he's getting his coffee and he goes, hey, what's this? I want to be a part of that. They're trying to get him. They're not trying to get you and me.
No, we're a shoe-in anyway.
We're already there.
But
here, One World, One Goal wants me to get with them on their marketing. The problem is I have them spending money because, I'm not even saying, the thing is, to me, a lot of what I'm talking about is kind of grassroots marketing. It's not super expensive other than, building soccer fields and things like that. That does cost money, but that's important. And that land that you were talking about, Ed, in Overtown, they had mentioned that they were going to build low income housing there, affordable housing. I think that's what they call it. They don't like to say low income, but it's what it is. There was talk about building that Moss and company would build there to give back to the city. So
that would be huge, I think.
just paint them
They
pink. Put
got
a big heron logo on it.
and put a soccer field in there. Why not?
But that's just it. And like I said, I've seen this being done in other MLS cities. I want to see it done here, where like all these like little city soccer fields that you see, around the corners have some sort of Inter Miami branding on them, whether it's on the actual field or if there's signage around the field or something like that, because Inter Miami being a major sponsor to the community soccer fields, I've seen that being done. I saw that heavily when I went in Brazil. When I go to my wife's city, you see Atletico Paranense on every soccer field, because they put a little bit of money there. So there's that. Ash Preetam, are there low income game tickets? No.
No, they're expensive, and it's funny because all of a sudden I saw that some money got taken out of my account, and it turns out it was, I think, I got a call from my rep, but I believe it's for the season, for the what's it called?
Renewal.
The playoff games. Is that what they're for?
Oh yeah, probably. Because if you
did you get charged?
I didn't look. I didn't get. I've had other issues this weekend.
AC, yeah.
Yeah. I spent $10,000.
I noticed that on Friday, and then I was like, wait a second, I'm losing money. I looked through, and Inter Miami right there, and I was like, they did mention that if you did not stop it, that they would automatically, give your, I guess your postseason tickets. I guess that's what's being charged right now. So I was like, I was happy, but at the same time I was sad because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they did say if you don't opt out, you're opting in. And again, my rep has been very good about forwarding me important messages, but it seems like the most important messages he doesn't. So like I'll get a message about parking for the next game, even though and that's not that important to me because I've already prepaid, but it's still, hey, thank you. I appreciate the message. But he did not send me the message about the opt-in or opt-out of the playoff tickets. But luckily we have friends that do get the emails and they do tell us what's going on. So, but yeah, no, I didn't notice money being taken out. But like I said, I was focused on other things this week. I'm going to go look after this though.
So,
but there's
Peter,
also, tickets are renewed for next year. That could also, that'll also auto happens if you did nothing, Yeah,
it could be that then.
Could be that. Although that, it might be a little bit more, a bigger amount, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I would think because last season it was more, so this was a little bit less. But let's see. Oops, something fell. Something fell. The dog's messing with something.
Anyway.
But yeah, Peter. What else do we have to cover? There's all this drama for your mama, as you said, that happened for Inter Miami, and I got to remind people, tomorrow we'll be doing this again, but in Spanish, and I'm going to have the antagonist of antagonists, Marco El Oso Donoso, is going to be talking smack about Tata and probably about Chris Henderson. So stay tuned for that Spanish show, because even if you didn't see this show live, he's probably going to watch it, and he's going to criticize Peter Brown. So this goes both ways.
We're going to yell at each other through videos, but not to each other.
There you go. Eventually we'll have them clash together, guys.
And then when I see him, it's just going to be like, "Hey, buddy,
what's up?" Yeah, that's how it is.
Because you watch our videos and you might think we don't like each other, but no, we're good. So, anyways, the other thing I wanted to touch on though is Fort Lauderdale United played their second game. It's weird how this league is doing things because it's the week 4, but they've only played 2 games. They lost against Carolina Ascent, which is a terrible name. The name of the team is Carolina Ascent. Ascent. Who names their team Ascent? A stupid name.
Hey, a lot of people criticized the Fusion back in the day.
Oh, I didn't like that name either. But I mean, I like the team. Sorry, 1-1 goal. I didn't like the name though. But Ascent is a dumb name. But they are a good team, and they beat Fort Lauderdale United 2-1. Just mentioning this also that I bought 2 tickets to go to the home opener. Hopefully Ed's joining me. But and then also we're going to be hanging out with one of our old buddies, Striker Fett. And, so, you guys should go and buy, talking about cheaper tickets, go buy a Fort Lauderdale United. We got premier seats, like really good seats on the 50-yard line. And I know people yell at me when I use 50 yards and stuff like that, but I'm American. For $35. I don't know. People have given me a hard time on the chat before because I'll say yards. And it's like, this isn't American football. I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. I'm American. I don't know what it is in meters. But those games are affordable. So great seats for $35. Cheap seats, I think, for way less. But I didn't even look at those because I wanted the good seats. And I was like, I can pay $35. It's no big deal. So that'll be in 2 weeks. They're home there because they're on the road again, I think in DC this weekend. And then home at their new stadium at Nova Southeastern, where Miami Dolphins used to have their training facility. So
awesome.
Ghost. I also since I'm gonna go to the game, I can't. Me, Ed. I'm a gear kind of guy. I like to wear the gear. So I bought a Fort Lauderdale United hat, and I bought a Fort Lauderdale United shirt, not jersey. I wasn't spending the $160, $180 on, not yet. But Mike V says, I can't go watch Fort Lauderdale because Inter Miami took all my money.
That's true. He spent a pretty penny, Peter, and plus gear and all that. And he takes his wife, and man, it comes out expensive. Plus, he buys this beer.
Yeah. Ed's always trying to beg for beer whenever we see you guys.
Appreciate it, guys. Increase my addiction to beer. So, help us out with that too. But don't forget the Patreon, guys. Help us get better equipment and be able to buy some season tickets because it's expensive, as you guys know. My kidneys depend on you guys, so I need those kidneys. If I can live off of one, I could, but I'd rather have both.
Yeah, sure. Kata is mentioning, I seen the second time he's brought this up, bring the good luck charm, your brother, to the playoffs, please, Peter. Well, unfortunately, my brother moved back to Oklahoma, so he only lived in Florida for like a year and a half until his wife said, I'm done with that place. And she don't like us either. So, there's that. There's that.
She doesn't watch the sound. Okay.
She does. No, she better. I hope. No, she's not watching this. So I mean, he's going to be down here. But no, he's going to be in Orlando, the end of October, but middle of October. But yeah, not down here. So unfortunately, but I'll tell him. I'll share that people are asking for him and all that kind of stuff. So Tank is saying there's no football in Oklahoma. So sad. There is actually. I think there's a championship club there somewhere close. USL championship. I think there is. Tulsa. He's in Tulsa. There's a Tulsa FC. I think it is. They're in the USL championship. So there is an option, but he's not that much of a soccer fan. He was more of a fan of hanging out with me and Ed and Julio and just, going to the event and having fun and learning about the game. He's not a big enough fan to go cheer for it on his own. So. Oh, and Kata is in here. So Kata, every once in a while we talk video games. And he at times has asked like what kind of video game. I'm in the middle of Star Wars Outlaws. There's a new Star Wars video game. I'm gonna end this and go back to playing that. That's a fun open world Star Wars game that I'm getting into. So
sounds good.
Mike V says South Florida is an acquired taste like gator. On that note, I think it's a good place to end. Make sure, as Ed was saying, everybody goes and watches the show tomorrow in Spanish. And if you haven't watched it yet, go check out Ed's construction video. Did a great job there. You know, there was a conversation here about the game. I heard there was glitches. You like it, Pete? I haven't seen any glitches, and yes, I like it. So, anyways, but yeah, construction video. Ed does something different that I don't normally do. So go watch the video to see what he does differently than what I normally do.
In the beginning, I think you guys will dig it.
Yeah, it's in the beginning. So, anyways, any final thoughts, Ed?
Nothing, Peter. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell your mama, tell your dog to watch us. Do the Patreon thing, and thanks for supporting Futbol Miami TV in both languages that we're doing now. Eventually, we'll get to some other language, hopefully, Martian, Chinese,
sure, why not?
But, all right,
everybody. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Oh, that didn't work.